Greetings, metaphysicians. This is episode 181, Karmic Repair. And this episode is all about karma, one of the most misunderstood concepts on the planet. Karma just means action. It can be good, bad, neutral, and everything in between. However, there is a tool, Karmic Repair, to mitigate any less savory karma that you might have. Listen in and enjoy the episode.
You're listening to Let's Get Metaphysical. This podcast explores the spiritual and metaphysical world through the experiences and opinions of the host and those interviewed. It should not necessarily be seen as direct endorsement or personal advice to our listeners. We encourage you to use your own discernment, judgment, and intuition regarding anything you learn from this show. The statements and advice offered in this podcast are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition, and are not substitutes for prudent medical care offered by licensed medical professionals. References to healing or treatments in this episode are describing faith-based blessings performed by God and the master healing angels. Neither this episode nor any part of it may be copied, transcribed, distorted, sold, republished, or distributed without first receiving the express written permission of both the CMA International Foundation and Up and Awaken Productions.
Let's get meta.
Welcome to the Let's Get Metaphysical podcast. I'm your host, Renata Maniaci. Here to remind you, you are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience here on lovely planet Earth. And we do have experiences on this planet. Many we feel are happy and useful and helpful and joyful, and many we feel are negative and harmful and sad and everything in between. And why do we have all of these experiences? Why not just the positive? Why not just the blissful? Well, this episode might help to answer some of those questions. This is Season 8, Angelic Reformation, and this is episode 181, Karmic Repair. And this season is all about the body of knowledge known as Angelic Reformation, as well as a look at each of its tools. Angelic Reformation is what we call the tools, processes, and rapid spiritual development work that has been presented through the teacher, Master John Douglas, by his companions, the Master Angels. It is about the intentional evolution of your consciousness without the use or necessity of outside substances or other interventions, such as drugs, psychedelics, plant medicines, religious dogma, esoteric rituals, etc. Angelic Reformation is about restructuring one's consciousness from being comprised of earthly human constructs that we get when we arrive in this human body, more towards one's universal divine structures that our souls contain at all times. It is a set of spiritual development tools that anyone can choose to use alongside any existing spiritual practice, religion, or tradition, if desired. We are doing a whole season on the topic because the purpose of this podcast, in part, is to encourage a deeper understanding of the invisible and unseen world that affects us just as intimately as the visible and seen aspects. After 9 years of using the tools of Angelic Reformation, I have found that each one has helped me to gain a deeper and truer understanding of the unseen and unknown influences affecting us all the time, be they energetic, karmic, microbial, parasitic, demonic, angelic, or otherwise. If you have not yet listened to the first 2 episodes for this season, please go ahead and listen to episode 168, Angelic Reformation, and episode 169, The Evolution of Consciousness, before listening into this one. They will provide needed context for what we are talking about. Now, if you are ready, then let's get meta. Master Angels, I humbly request your presence, guidance, and support through this episode. Please help these words to be useful to all listeners on their evolutionary journey. Let me know the truth, speak the truth, become the truth, and be the truth. And please let this episode reach whoever needs to hear it. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. Bless creation. Today we are talking about the karmic repair process. And just to remind everyone, a process in this context is an MP3, kind of like an audio meditation. There are currently 15 processes in the array of tools that make up angelic reformation, ranging in length from 3 minutes to an hour. And now a bit about karma before we dive into the karmic repair tool. The concept of karma is pretty misunderstood on this planet in general. It gets a bad rap. But any negative connotation of the concept of karma is misplaced. Karma simply means action and can be pretty easily understood with the adage, you reap what you sow, or by understanding the golden rule, do unto others what you would have done unto you. These are fairly simple concepts to understand. What creates your karma? Well, your thoughts, words, and actions to varying degrees of weight. And yes, your thoughts create karmic consequences. They hold less weight than actions and words, but they still hold weight. And talking about this, people feel like karma is a threat, especially because we have phrases like that, at least in English, like karma's a bee, right? And we hear people in popular culture, content, movies, talking about karma mostly with a negative connotation. These are not threats. You reap what you sow, the golden rule, none of this is a threat. They're simply ways of stating this basic universal law. And a universal law means that it is a law that applies everywhere in the universe, not just here on Earth. If you perform a good action, that gets put in your karmic bank, so to speak. Same goes for if you perform a bad action or a neutral action. All of your thoughts, words, and actions create an energy frequency, and they are put in your karmic piggy bank. And so you may have heaps and heaps of gold, let's say, for your good actions, your good words, your good thoughts towards yourself, towards others, towards humanity, towards God, towards the universe, right? You might have rooms and rooms of positive karma waiting to be drawn upon based on your actions, your good actions. Similarly, you may have, let's say, rooms of coal for your bad actions. Now I'm just mixing, Santa Claus and whatever, but this is a fairly simple concept. So I'm trying to put some images to it, some imagery to it. You may have coal in your karmic piggy bank for the more negative or bad words, thoughts, or actions that have come from you in the past. Now, the difficult thing for people to understand is that karma is not always instantaneous. It can be, and we have all probably seen examples of when it has been, but often karma can take time for it to come back to you, good, bad, or otherwise. It can take much time for it to be delivered back. Sometimes it takes lifetimes. And this is probably the most confusing thing for humans to understand, because it is not widely accepted or known that we do, in fact, have past lifetimes, and that we are currently living one of many, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe even more past lifetimes. And many do not understand why certain things happen in their lives now, especially if it is negative, because we are not allowed to remember our past lives when we are living in this one. And this is where so much suffering and heartache and confusion and disbelief and faithlessness in God and the divine comes from, because we don't remember that we've lived many lifetimes, and thus in those lifetimes have accrued much karma, great karma, amazing karma, money karma, real estate karma, pleasant things karma, meeting the love of your life karma. But we've also had experiences that have helped us to accrue more negative karma, more uncomfortable karma, illness karma, plane crash karma, being accused of something you didn't do karma, right? And on and on and on. Some people have wealthy karma, famous karma, all kinds of things, right? This is a huge topic, by the way, and I can't go too deep into it in one episode, but this little talk right now was just to help you to understand why and how karma works, because it's just very misunderstood here. And again, it is not a negative thing. Karma it just is. It's simply you reap what you sow. That's it. It's very simple, and it doesn't have to be negative at all. But it gets a bad rap here. So, again, we're talking about this 16-minute karmic repair process, and here is the description of it direct from the website, where it can be purchased at globalcma.org. Karmic Repair Directed Prayer is an exercise for the practitioner to generate an energetic return in the form of positive karma using the laws of the universe. The blessings and invocation given directly by the Master Healing Angels imply a level of awareness and worthiness in the practitioner. The goal is to use these intentions to create a positive karmic return for all of us and sow the seeds of our future. Suggestion for use: listen to Karmic Repair as often as desired. This process is part of the larger loop. Purchase of this process includes a link to a guide to Karmic Repair teleseminar from Master John Douglas. And again, the short loop consists of having the MP3 processes location repair, spirit repair, and psychological repair played on repeat in the background with little or no volume. When you keep this loop playing and repeating 24/7, you are protected, rebuilt, and transformed as you go throughout your day. Those 3 processes are specifically designed to give you 100% of the benefit of their highly technical and advanced healing processes. But you can also create a longer loop with karmic repair, soul repair, and relationship development by adding those in. But understand that those 3, you're only receiving 20% of the benefits from looping it all day long on silent. So karmic repair is an answer to acquiring more positive karma in your piggy bank, towards putting more gold in your karmic piggy bank. And this is a fairly new spiritual technology brought to us by Master John and the Master Healing Angels. So if you're sitting there before while I was talking about karma and thinking, oh man, I must have some negative karma, this is befalling me and that is befalling me and X, Y, and Z, this is a tool that you can use to help to mitigate your more negative karma and add more positive karma to your bank account. And again, this could be a much longer episode than I am going to go into here. There's so many different types of karma. There's so many nuances. This could be a topic for several episodes, for several seasons. But this is to understand simply that there is a way that's very powerful, very simple as pressing play, and giving yourself 16 minutes of time each time you play it to generate and store up positive karma. And this process does that in part because you are blessing all of the world, all of humanity. And by doing that, you're generating a positive karmic return through doing this process. So you're not only helping yourself, you are helping everyone else on the planet, just a drop. But by doing that, it generates a massive karmic return for you. So before I share more of my own personal experiences with the karmic development process, I'm going to play a few testimonials from people who use this process regularly. Here we go.
Hi, my name's Nevin and I'm from Michigan. I've been using angelic reformation tools since the fall of 2019, and I'd like to share an experience I had with you with one of these tools, Karmic Repair. In the spring of 2020, I was experiencing a great deal of financial hardship, and I had recently gotten divorced and was also wondering if I'd ever find love again, or more appropriately, if I had the capacity to open myself up again so that love could find me. I'd been performing all of the Reformation tools for about half a year or so by now, and was wondering what might happen if I ramped up the usage of Karmic Repair each day and make a point to dedicate it specifically to health, wealth, and also in finding the love of my life, my best friend, my soulmate. For the next 6 months, I performed on average 10 Karmic Repairs a day, not thinking much of the time going by, just simply being with the process and making sure I dedicated each Karmic Repair as I performed it. After 6 months, I felt something shift in me, and that gave me the feeling I was finished or done needing to perform so many Karmic Repairs each day. So I trusted my gut, and lo and behold, I met my now wife and eternal love of all my lives, just days after completing this Karmic Repair marathon, which forever changed the trajectory of my life. I now have more health, wealth, love, and light in my life than I could possibly have dreamed of. All thanks to this incredible angelic tool.
My name is Georgia, and I live in Pennsylvania and in Boone. And this is a testimonial for the karmic repair process and specifically global karmic repair. So I've become aware that I am going to be completely unable to pay enough forward for what I am receiving from the Master Angels and from Master John. And my intention and my motivation for doing karmic repair is to accumulate as much karmic repair and to really generate as much soma as I possibly can, just to be a vehicle to support the Master Angels and Master John in his mission here. And his mission is to help us and to lift us and to be with us, is for us. And it feels so good to give and receive through global karmic repair.
Hi, my name is Alana and I live in California. I've been using the Angelic Reformation tool since 2017, and I would like to share an experience that I had with the Karmic Repair CD, which we do play on a daily basis. A little over a year ago, my husband and I were awakened in the middle of the night by a very loud crashing sound in our garage. My husband ran out to see what was the matter and discovered our garage on fire. Had it not been for the very loud crash of the large wind chimes that I had just brought in and hung up in the garage, and mainly because I thought they were disturbing the neighbors, we could have lost our home. That was the blessing of karmic repair. Thankfully, my husband, myself, and our cat all got out safely. I am so, so grateful for the Karmic Repair CD.
A big thank you to Nevin, Georgia, and Alana for sharing their karmic repair experiences with us. And I want to comment on each experience that they shared. So for Nevin is a personal friend of mine. I can expressly say that I witnessed this happen. I met Nevin before he met his now wife. And I have never seen anyone use karmic repair so intentionally, and have correspondingly, I've never seen anyone receive such big karmic returns. He seriously listened to 10 karmic repairs a day. And in fact, there were some times where he did karmic marathons where he did more karmic repairs a day when he could. So I'm just stating that actually happened. All of this actually happened, obviously, but I personally know of Nevin doing this, and I have seen the results. I am good friends with him and his wife, and they now have 2 children. And so for him, it's a very, he used this tool very intentionally for his own benefit, and it worked. So just his testimonial is a huge experience to observe and see and know and experience that something happened. Big things happened for him. His whole life changed. And again, I've never seen anyone use it so intentionally. So you can use it like that. You absolutely can. And actually, after listening to these testimonials, I've started listening to more karmic repair every day. There's so many different processes, and we need them at different times of our day and different times of our lives, and they come in waves. So I've started using karmic repair a lot more after starting to put together this episode. So the second testimonial, Georgia, also a friend, mentions global repair. So let me tell you what global repair is. Her whole testimonial, it is karmic repair. It's that process, but she specifically being grateful for the experience of global repair, which is a free plane of karmic repair every day that you or anyone else can tune into at globalrepair.com. This is a gift that Master John and the angels have given humanity, that you can go to globalrepair.com, and if you go now, it'll tell you what time it plays, and you can listen to karmic repair for free. You do not have to buy this process. I recommend buying it just because then you can listen to it whenever you want. But if you want to try out karmic repair and get a good positive karmic return at the same time and bless the world without purchasing a process, go to globalrepair.com and you can do that. So Georgia's whole testimonial is about how much she loves global repair, tuning into that every night. She also uses the word soma, which in this context is saying generating positive karmic return. So she's generating that positive soma because of listening to karmic repair or global repair. And in our last testimonial from Alana, she implies that she knows that listening to karmic repair helped her and her husband and their cat in their fire situation. And I just want to go into this for a minute. And we've mentioned this on other episodes too, but listening to these processes gives those who listen a greater awareness, understanding, and sense of knowing of the things that happen in our lives, such that it is often known or felt when something that happens is a mitigation of something that would have been bigger without the use of karmic repair. So Alana's implying this in her testimonial. She knows that her daily use of karmic repair had something to do with them waking up, with none of them getting hurt, with getting out on time. She intuitively feels and knows that. And I can say that many of us know that and feel that and are aware of that after using these processes. Something happens and we give thanks because we know that it could have been worse, and it might have been worse without the use of these spiritual development tools. So I have many experiences with this tool myself. It smooths out my days. If I remember to listen to it, if I choose to listen to it in the morning, it smooths out my days. I have used this process many times proactively before meetings, before events, before travel, just to ensure that everything goes smoothly. And it really, you can feel it. It really does change the way that your experience goes for a day. You can do multiple of these. Sometimes I do multiple of them, depending on how large the event is or how long I'm going to be traveling, etc. I have used it in conjunction with relationship repair to move through challenging situations with other people, friends, family members. They go really well together, relationship repair and karmic repair. And I just want to throw out there that some relationships, if not all, exist for karmic reasons. People are in your life, whether family members, friends, etc., partners, because you need to deliver karma to each other on some level. You owe each other something from a past lifetime. You need to deliver positive, negative, neutral, etc. karma to that person. We are all tools in each other's lives. I was going to say pawns, but it has a negative connotation. It's just we're all playing roles in each other's lives in this lifetime, this play of a lifetime. So, like I said before, karma is not super well understood on this planet. It's often vilified, but it just means action. It could be good, bad, or neutral. You reap what you sow. And also, it can be incredibly nuanced and specific to you. And it is. Karma is unfathomable, and it will come back to you in ways that are very specifically designed for you. And when you see that, and some of you, I can feel you listening to this right now are like, oh, wow, when that happened, that was a karmic return. I know it was. You can feel it. Good, bad, ugly, or anything other, blissful. It just is. The ways of karma are unfathomable. And like I said, we could have so many more episodes and time devoted to this topic. Again, this transformation, this mitigation of karma is brought about by listening to this 16-minute process. You're simply pressing play and listening. It's almost too easy. It is a compact, time-bound spiritual technology given to us by the Master Angels through the teacher, Master John Douglas, and is available to anyone. Like every other process, the karmic repair process costs $150. It never stops working, and it is added to and updated when appropriate by the Master Angels without needing to purchase another. As I mentioned before, purchasing this process also includes a link to a more in-depth talk called A Guide to Karmic Repair, explaining this process and what it does. And I highly recommend listening to this. In fact, one of the reasons that I'm listening to Karmic Repair every day now is because I re-listened to A Guide to Karmic Repair, and it's unfathomable what it does. It's amazing. And so it is definitely worth listening to Master John talking about karmic repair. There's no better person to hear it from. I don't have the right or the ability to speak very deeply on the different types of karmas that exist, but Master John does, and it's worth listening to what he has to say on this topic. I could go on, as I said, for a few more hours on karma. I'm going to leave it there for today. This is just a taste. This is just an episode to share the karmic repair process with you. We will continue with another angelic reformation process in our next episode. If you are interested in looking into these tools or finding out more, please visit globalcma.org. And again, if you want to try out Karmic Repair for free, please go to globalrepair.com and listen in at the time that they play it for free for everyone. These angelic reformation tools are available to anyone interested. Use your own discernment. If this is calling to you, there's probably a reason that your soul knows about that you want to look into this for some reason. Also, reviews. If you feel called to leave a positive review for the podcast, please do. You can leave a 5-star review pretty easily in less than a minute with a positive word or two on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. It really does help the episode reach the people who need to hear it. So thank you for considering that. As always, thank you for listening. Stay positive, stay safe, and stay meta.
The Let's Get Metaphysical podcast is an Up, and Awaken production and is produced and hosted by Renata Maniaci. Our intention is to raise the vibration of the planet by sharing, validating, and normalizing spiritual and metaphysical experiences. The Let's Get Meta podcast is inspired by angels and supported by angels. If you would like to be a patron angel of the podcast, visit patreon.com/letsgetmeta. Thank you for listening. Stay meta.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.